So for this day, naanata sa Module 3, and Module 3 is all about algebra. So this module was designed and written to help students understand the topic algebra. Algebra is one of the oldest branches of mathematics. It has its own language and structure that allows discovery of relationship between quantities, promotes critical thinking, communicates ideas, and solves real-life problems. However, for most students, algebra is often perceived as a confusing set of letters, numbers, and symbols which are difficult to understand, especially in algebra na naana dyan yung mga letters involved no aside from numbers. In this module, you will explore and perform different activities that will help you acquire the necessary competencies and skills, develop a deeper understanding of the application of algebra, and improve your critical thinking. So in the end of the module, you should be able to answer the question, how can real-life problems involving one variable be modeled and solved? So in this module na atay tulo ka topics. The first topic is all about the algebraic expressions. The second topic ay mag-discuss na about the polynomials. And the third topic is all about the linear equations and inequalities. Now we'll proceed to our first topic, and that is all about the algebraic expression. Okay, so we have here our lesson map, no? And algebraic expressions are composed of constant variables or operation symbols. It can be evaluated and it can translated from English phrases. Sige. So we are actually in here. No, so algebra comes from Arabic word. We have that, which means restoration, which in turn was part of the title of mathematical book written around the 820 AD by Arab mathematician. Ito, dako-dakuan gamay. Okay. So Muhammad, how do you read this? So that IBN Musa Al-Khwarizmi. So we just have to try to research no kanina name kung saan na siya pagka-pronounce later. While this book is widely considered to have laid the foundation of modern algebra, history shows that ancient Babylonian, Greek, Chinese, and Indian mathematicians were discussing and using algebra a long time before this book was published. Once you've learned this new language, you'll begin to appreciate how powerful it is and how its applications have drastically improved our way of life. We have here an instructions. How do you understand the following symbols and expressions? So we have here x, 2 plus 3. So these are symbols and at the same time expressions, no? So, unsa may mga meaning ani ni Jack? Let's answer the questions in number 1. So, si number 1, you might have thought of x as the multiplication sign. No, kay we know that ang ato gyud multiplication sign is x dun na siya. From here, sa algebra, x will be considered a symbol that stands for any value or number. So x is our variable. This is a symbol, stands siya. This is a variable na considered siya to stands for any value or number. Number 2, si 2 plus 3, you probably thought of 2 plus 3 as equal to 5, right? Kay mo nang atong discussion sa ato first topic, no? Sa grade 7 na. 2 plus 3, oh, this is equal to 5. And must have written the number 5. Another way to think of 2 plus 3 is to read it as the sum of 2 and 3. It is the sum of 2 and 3. So number 3, we have the symbol equal. So you must thought, alright, what am I supposed to compute? Because the sign equal may be called the equal sign by most people, but may be interpreted as a command to carry out an operation or operations. However, the equal sign is also a symbol for the relation between the expressions on its left and right side, much like the less than and greater than signs. So this is more of like the equality of the left hand side and the right hand side. So this is not just all about the katong equal sign. Now we also have here the language of algebra. No, mo ang kinahanglan nato remember. Now the following are important terms to remember. So first one is constant. Unsa man ang constant, no? A constant is a number on its own. No, so kung nakay makita for example 1 or 127. Kana na mga numbers na idyo makita pag abot sa algebra ang tawag ana nila kay constant. Si 2 is a constant, 3 is a constant, 5 is constant. So any numbers, no, is a constant on its own. The second one is variable. Ato ni i-remember ng mga terms ha. Variable. So what is a variable? A variable is a symbol. Usually letters ni siya. No, pag like kagaina, di ba si x, no? Kay we call that also as a variable since that is a letter which represent a value or a number. For example, a or x. In truth, you have been dealing with variables since preschool in the form of squares, blank, lines, or other symbols used to represent an unknowns in some mathematical sentences or phrases. So in here, we will be using letters as our variables. So ang numbers as our constant, letters as our variable. Okay, next, term. Sama ng term. A term is a constant or a variable multiplied together. For example, si 4xy or 8yz. So the term's number part is called the numerical coefficient, while the variable or variables is or are called the literal coefficient or coefficients kung daghan. So for the term 8yz, no? Natay term na 8yz. Ang ato numerical coefficient diha ay si 8. Ang number mo ng ato numerical coefficient, ang mga letters mo ng ato literal coefficient. So again, in the example 8yz, the numerical coefficient is 8 and the literal coefficient is y and z. Okay, how about for example 4x? Kinsa man ang ato numerical coefficient sa 4x? We have Aroy, way nabati, way naningog. So 4x kinsa man ato numerical coefficient? We have numerical. We're talking about numerical. 4x. Kumita numerical coefficient, we're talking about the numbers. Kisa may numbers sa 4x. Diba si 4? And when we also have literal coefficient, kisa may literal coefficient sa 4x? We have dugay. Kinsa man? We have x. Again, ang numerical coefficient kay katong mga numbers, literal coefficient kay katong mga letters. So, letter D, expression. This is an algebraic expression, is a group of terms separated by the plus or minus sign. For example, x minus 2 or 4x plus 1 half minus 45. So, the x minus 2 is an example of expression. 4x plus 1 half minus 45 is an example of an expression. Especially kung naatay mga, basta kay wala tay mga equal na. Okay, next. Since the letter x is now used as a variable in algebra, it would not only be funny but confusing as well to still use x as a multiplication symbol. So, imagine writing the product of 4 and the value of x as 4 times x. Thus, algebra simplifies multiplication of constants and variables by just writing them down beside each other or by separating them using only parentheses or the symbol kini. For example, so sa algebra, kay dili na ta magamit ng ang multiplication sign, di ba, kay x man. So sa algebra, we will just have to use it's either parentheses, no, para mag-indicate na i-multiply na to sila, or pwede sa ning bullet, no? So it could be 4 times x and 4 times x. So dili na ta magamit ang ani na 4 times x kay maglibog ta because we are actually using x as our variable. So if we will use the multiplication sign, we will have to use parentheses or this bullet form. Furthermore, division is more often expressed in fraction form. The division sign is kini is now seldom used. So in this case, we are actually using for the fraction form na division. Okay, let's try to answer this. Which of the following equations is true? A, 12 plus 5 is equal to 17. B, 8 plus 9 is equal to 2 plus 5. C, 6 plus 11 is equal to 3 times 4 plus 1 plus 2. What's the answer? Okay, so we have here the discussion, no? So, all of the equations are true. In each of the equations, both sides of the equal sign give the same number though expressed in different forms. In letter A, so 17 is the same as the sum of 12 and 5. In B, the sum of 8 and 9 is 17. Thus, it is equal to the sum of, this is 12. 12 plus 5. So 8 plus 9 is equal to the sum of 12 plus 5. And letter C, the sum of 6 and 11 is equal to the sum of 2 and the product of 3 and the sum of 4 and 1. So these three here are all equal. Okay, let's go on letters and variables. So let x be any real number. Find the value of the expression 3x, the product of 3 and x. Remember, if A, x is equal to 5, B, x is equal to 1 half, and C, x is equal to negative 0.25. Saan man nato siya? No, again, imong natay expression na 3x, which means na ato, if our x is equal to 5, ato substitutan si x here ng 5. Kay si x equal to 5 man. So if we have here x is equal to 5, so we will have 3 times 5. What's the answer? 3 times 5 is equal to, that's 15. Okay? Okay, for letter B, if our x is equal to 1 half, which means na si x na to, si 3x, ang x na to, alis na nato o 1 half. So that will be equal to 3 times 1 half. The answer is 3 over 2. Kaya 3 times 1, that's 3 over 2. For letter C, we have x is equal to negative 0.25. So if x is equal to negative 0.25, then 3x is equal to 3 times negative 0.25, and that is equal to negative 0.75. Okay. The letters such as x, y, and etc. do not always have specific values assigned to them. When that is the case, simply think of each of them as any number. So if you will be using any variables, kung may mga variables, those are the letters. Wala tayo specific na value na naka-assign. So if we have x, it could be any number. Number si x, pero it could be any number. Wala tayo as in, si x kay equal to 1, depende siya. Okay. Now we also have here the verbal phrases and mathematical phrases. So directions. The table below shows two columns, A and B. Column A contains mathematical sentences. So again, kinina column, it contains mathematical sentences. And column B contains verbal sentence. Okay. So again, column A, kini siya mo na yung mga example sa mathematical sentence. Si B here is an example of a verbal sentence. So if we can observe, no, si x plus 5 is equal to 4. Inigi mo na to siya verbal sentence, pwede siya ingani. The sum of a number and 5 is 4. Okay? Kung ato i-translate si mathematical sentence into verbal sentence, no, si x plus 5 is equal to 4, mahimo siyang the sum of a number and 5 is 4. Now, if we have 2x minus 1 is equal to 1, that is twice a number decreased by 1. Si minus kay decrease, no? Twice a number. Si x kay number. Si 2 kay twice a number. Decreased by 1 is equal to 1. Now, if we have 7 plus x is equal to 2x plus 3, unsa man ni, how do we transform this into a verbal sentence? That is just 7 added by a number x is equal to twice the same number increased by 3. Again, 7 added by a number x is equal to twice the same number increased by 3. Now, if we have 3x is equal to 15, that is thrice a number x yields 15. Pwede sa thrice a number x is equal to 15. Pwede sa nga na. Now, for x minus 2 is equal to 3, 2 less than a number, x results to 3. Again, 2 less than a number, x results to 3. So, we have here question to ponder. So, number 1. Based on the table, what do you observe are the common verbal translations of the equal nga sign? Is it equal to? Diba, dili sa tanang panahon that the equal sign is converted as equal to. Nayuban diri yields, results, no? So, naa siya. Depende siya sa pagkagamit sa sentence. Can you think of other verbal translation for the equal sign? It could be, pwede siya results in, pwede siya becomes. So, kung nata equal sign, dili pa sabot na ang ija verbal translation is equal ra jud. We can use yields, we can use results in, we can use becomes. Number 3, use the phrase is equal to on your own sentence. No? And write your own pair mathematical sentence and its verbal translation on the last row of the table. So later, ato to siya ano. Okay. Okay, now let's proceed to here. Ano, we'll end here na lang and we will have to end here, and on our next meeting we will discuss on evaluating algebraic expression.